Good morning and welcome to Friday with the Rev. I'm Greg Johnson. I'm the president and CEO of GJP International, Greg Johnson Partnerships, and I'm thrilled to welcome you this morning to this ongoing series dealing with family caregiving, faith, and spirituality. It's wonderful to have you with us today, and I'm delighted to be back. Last week I was not here in New York. I was traveling and my commitments just did not allow me to visit with you, and it seems like a long time since we had this opportunity to be together, to have a moment to talk, a moment of quiet. And our theme for this morning is now. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. That phrase has been very special to me, and I want to consider that with you this morning. Keeping in today, staying in the present moment. I also, before I go into our real text of the program, I want to remind you that there are two ways in which you can be in touch with me throughout the week, and I'm always pleased to hear from you. Emails tend to be the best for me and for my gifts or lack thereof in technology. So one of the ways is through Emblem Health, where my email is gjohnson@emblemhealth.com. I serve as the Chief Advisor, Family Caregiving, the office of the CEO there. At the Marble Collegiate Church, I also have the privilege of being on staff, and if you would prefer to write me there, it's gjohnson@marblechurch.org. So it's emblemhealth.com or marblechurch.org. And either way, I'll be delighted to hear from you, to hear your questions, your suggestions, whatever way we might be able to continue this dialogue. And remember, our focus is family caregiving, faith, and spirituality. And by saying that, I'm not saying that everyone needs to be of the same faith, heaven forbid. We're much greater blessed by the plurality. It's also people who may feel at the moment they have no faith. Welcome. All are welcome to this conversation, because in the world of family caregiving, we often learn a great deal about faith and about spirituality. And we come to make decisions in our own lives based on this journey in family caregiving. Now, this morning, I'm going to begin with a brief reading. I continue to share with you items that have been extremely helpful in my own life. And these come from Spiritual Truths. It's written by a very noted rabbi, Rabbi Joseph H. Gelberman, who has been so important in the lives of so many clergy of many faiths. And he and Dr. Dorothy Kobach wrote this little book. As you can see, it's not brand new by any means. It was given to me, frankly, by a noted rabbi here in New York City after I spoke at the 100th anniversary of the Actors Temple, just right up here on Broadway. And I have loved and treasured this. So I wanted to begin today. It's a 31-day book of readings and meditations, so that you could use it month by month. And day one is here. So I'm going to read it to you, and we're going to use it as part of our conversation today. Live in the present. There is a sacred spiritual moment. It exists here and now. It is never there and later. All the love of life and all the truths of life can be enjoyed and expressed in the second it takes to be aware of this reality. To seize the moment and fulfill its purpose is a spiritual and psychological mandate for a rewarding life. Repressed guilt from the past cluttering up the present, or depressing reminiscence of what might have been, destroy the power to mature and relate to immediate situations effectively. I love this phrase. Now is never about to happen. Now never leaves. It is always here, like a clear canvas. It awaits our painting. Wonderful, wonderful thought. And it does await our painting. And for caregivers, that includes our care recipients. We're blessed to have that opportunity, and yet there are many, many challenges to it. This morning, in talking about the now, I want to share with you, during these original broadcasts, and there have now been nearly 30 or more of them, during this period, we have been using this book, Peace Be Still, Prayers and Affirmations for Family Caregivers. It was written by me and by Reverend Marian Gambardella. And it has prayers, it has affirmations. It is available on Amazon. I'm not doing a book sale, but that's where it's available. If you also would like, it is available through the Marble Collegiate Church. You can find that there. In the back, and we've concluded the entire series of prayers. There are some more that I have written that we're going to be using. In fact, I will end the broadcast today with another one that I have written for a future book. But there was one part of, once we finished the book of prayers, we also put in a lot of information for family caregivers. Now, much of what was there and much of what is in this booklet, Care for the Family Caregiver, A Place to Start, that I wrote for Emblem Health with the noted National Alliance of Caregiving. We did that in 2005, updated it in 2010, and then did it again in 2017. So it's very current, and it's being used all over the world. You're welcome to copies. Just be in touch with me. I can make that happen, and we'd be delighted. It's available, by the way, in English, and in Spanish, and in Chinese. So it may give you some suggestions, some direction, and that's our goal. Because although we may at times refer to things here in America, it's the very title of it that you, thanks to the wonders of technology, can Google in your own language, in your own country, simply by adding that to whatever the topic might be. And as always, I do remind you that when we're talking family caregiving, in America, that is the phrase that is used, family caregiver, family caregiving. The rest of the world, they use the term carer. And jokingly, I always say, we say family caregiving, because no New Yorker could ever get 2 R's in one word. So carer would be a very difficult word. But seriously speaking, just so that you can find the information, if you're dealing with someplace outside of America, use the word carer, and you're going to find the same information that you would have found here using family caregiving. One of the items that we included in the book, and I don't think it's showing too well, but we'll try. And they are, and I want to just read them with you today, because they're all about things we do in the present. And so it's things for today. 10 tips for family caregivers. Number 1, caregiving is a job, and respite is your earned right. Reward yourself with respite breaks often. And this is where you can invite others to be helpful, where you can learn that a prayer, meditation, a brief couple of breaths can give you a short respite, but you need to care for you, and you can do that. Watch out for signs of depression, and don't delay in getting professional help when you need it. You, the family caregiver, can only give out of your abundance, And that means caring for yourself, keeping your appointments, seeing your therapist. You must care for yourself. I know that sounds it sounds easier than it's done, but it's also extremely necessary. And number 3, when people offer help, accept the offer and suggest specific things that they can do. Now, here is how you do the first 2 steps that we were talking about, in my opinion. When people say, let me know how I can help you, they are sincere. And you say, oh, yes, yes, yes. No, no. When they say, let me know how I can help you. Next Tuesday, I have a doctor's appointment from 11 to 12. Could you sit with my loved one while I'm away? Specific things to a child, a youngster, a teenager. Would you Google these items and print it out for me so that I could read it? Now, I know most of you might send it to the email. That's fine. I still tend to print things out. But you see what I'm saying? Give specific items. Or could you come on the morning next week, one morning next week, so that I could accomplish some errands that need to be done? All of these are specific ways, and it gives reality and it gives respite and support to the caregiver. Number 4, educate yourself about your loved one's condition and how to communicate effectively with doctors. That's a whole world. Please remember, my dear, dear caregivers, we are one of the legs of the healthcare system. The person who is ill, the care recipient. The doctors, the nurses, they are the professional caregivers. And we are the family caregivers. And who knows more about what's happening in the life of the patient than you? Because you're present for it. And depending on the mental condition, depending on so many factors, you have an enormous amount of input. So notebooks are helpful. Writing down questions and feeling indeed part of the healthcare system. Don't be the silent patient. There's a difference between caring and doing. Be open to technologies and ideas that promote your loved one's independence. And by that, technology has blessed us. Allow the patient both the dignity and the challenge to do things that they really can do, as opposed to becoming just sitting there waiting to be served. Bring them constantly, as much as we can, into the partnership of the doing. I love this. Trust your instincts. Most of the time, they'll lead you in the right direction. For me, that's spirit guiding. Because as we begin our day, and I pray that you do, and as we end our day, connecting with the divine source within, whatever name you may choose to call that, spirit, knowledge, wisdom, the higher power, God, whatever name you're comfortable with, that piece of the divine is there and working with us, sending messages, and we want to be in touch with that. That's why pausing, taking deep breaths, as I do before I begin every broadcast. Yes, I've had my prayer time this morning. I do that each morning. But then as I sit down to speak and to share, I ask to be that vehicle. And I ask that as I'm speaking, I'm also listening. I'm changing things as we go along. Spirit-led. You can too. Caregivers often do a lot of lifting, pushing, and pulling. Be good to your back. That's an important one, because when that goes out, we go out. Grieve for your losses, and then allow yourself to dream new dreams. Now, we've had several broadcasts where we've dealt with grief, and I'm going to be dealing with more because it's an extremely important situation. As I have always said, in caregiving, often we begin grieving while the person still lives. That's understandable. But being now, keeping today, this is not the day of finality. This is not the funeral. This is a day that may be difficult. It is difficult. It's challenging. But today, the two of you are together. So share the small victories, the small little wonders that are happening, and be grateful. That's going to be a memory that's going to bless you. And as for grief, there is no one way to do it. It doesn't end, but it does change. And new dreams are the gift as we carry on. We'll talk more of that. Number 9, seek support from other caregivers. There is great strength in knowing you are not alone. No question about that. And the truth is, that's why the support groups are so important. And why a support group is equally important after your caregiving journey has come to an end. Either the patient has gotten well or they have passed on. You still have so much to share with other caregivers because you're now a veteran caregiver, as it were, one walking through grief. It is still part of the caregiving journey. So don't rush to leave. I urge you to join a support group of grief, but stay with the caregivers and gently release. Number 10, stand up for your rights as a caregiver and a citizen. And that's something that is happening more and more. More and more laws are being passed. More and more action is happening. And why? Because family caregivers have named their profession. They have named the gift that they are giving in abundance. And they are banding together, thanks to many of the wonderful organizations here in America and in other parts of the world. We are naming it and knowing its many faces. And we're standing up together, asking and demanding support. Very important. So I urge you to look at those 10 principles. They're in the book. They're always great tips for us to have, but I felt I wanted to do the 10 of them together, kind of as a finale to that particular book, and we will return to it because there are some wonderful prayers that many of you have kindly spoken about. The important part of it is, and I so appreciate when you write to me and tell me those parts that were particularly important to you, because like any text, any prayer, any devotional literature, as we read it again, we're in a different space and we see new things, and that's important so that we too can share it. Now, I want to, before I conclude this broadcast, share with you that all of the broadcasts, Friday with the Rev, are now archived on our own YouTube channel. I'm very excited about this. A very dear and talented friend has joined me in this venture and is directing this for us. So you need to go to YouTube. And the name of the channel on YouTube is Family Caregiving with the Rev. And there you will find all of the Friday broadcasts. You will find many other talks that I have given. You will find the complete You Are Not Alone series, and it opens with a lovely, lovely tape. And I say that with great respect and humility, but I think it's something that could truly be of help to you as you take a look and look at the different topics. There are many wonderful experts in the world of family caregiving, from spirituality, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial. Our wonderful, wonderful colleagues here in New York. I've had the privilege of interviewing them. We're doing more of that, and we look forward to sharing. I also urge you, if from a text point of view, if you would like more information, to go to Emblem Health's website, and that's www.emblemhealth.com/care for the family caregiver. And it will bring you to all of the tools and resources. You'll also see the 10 tips, which I used as the basis for this morning's broadcast. Take that, share it, use it. Please, it is there as a gift from Emblem, literally, to the world. And Emblem, I am so proud of them, has led the world and the caregiving world to new heights. And I give great thanks for that. Now, I want to end this morning with a prayer that I wrote some time ago. I know what had happened. I had been listening to a tape of old hymns, something that I love. And one of them that I've known so long and played and sung, Trust and Obey. And I thought, what a perfect prayer for this morning, where we've been focusing on what we can do today, painting on our canvas, living in the present, and giving the greatest gift we can give to others. And that is our attention and our presence. So please join me as we conclude this broadcast with this prayer. Whatever your tradition is, sit back, be comfortable, and let us pray. Trust and obey. I hear that precious old hymn in my heart as I give thanks for this night of peace and rest, and as I prepare my heart and being for this day. O Father, Mother, God, who knows no limit of time and space, this day is indeed sufficient for my thinking and understanding. Thank you for walking with me always until my work is done, and I return to you. To you I surrender this day with all its challenges and opportunities, for through each I may come closer to you. All is well. All is well. May I live that message as I care for myself and those in my life for whom I am caring. Each of us is on our own journey. I give thanks for the portion of each person's journey that I am blessed to share. And I give thanks for lessons each person shares and teaches me. Thank you, divine friend, partner in life and death, almighty indeed, almighty. In you I trust and obey, and it is so. Amen. Thank you for being with me this morning. God bless and have a wonderful week. And please be in touch. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday with the Rev. Thank you.